going to be a brilliant try for Australia. And it's Mike Hooper who scores Australia's second try. Set-piece try, Wade Cooper. It's working for the gold shirts. They claim the try. Oops, are we looking at a little duck tackle? Australia have won handsomely at the Aviva Stadium.
Well, Joe, has there been much soul-searching this week, given the performance against Australia?
No, not really. I'd say the performance wasn't as bad as the score stacked up to be. We made 3 quite bad defensive errors and conceded a pushover try from a line out that we were really unhappy about. But at the same time, we did develop a little bit of play and asked a few questions of them. Got very close to scoring a few times ourselves, and we've just got to be more clinical in that. So it was more about trying to be more accurate. Certainly, you've got to bring the intensity, and that wasn't quite there. And I think the All Blacks kind of do bring that out in most teams. So hopefully we can deliver that today.
Only Ireland, of course, stand in the way of New Zealand, and a clean sweep. Does that crank up the magnitude of the task for you today?
Yeah, it probably does crank it up, because it cranks up their determination to perform, and they have a pretty high level of determination in the first place. So I've no doubt that they will be highly motivated and really difficult to contain.
It was touch and go all week as to whether O'Driscoll, Carney, Sexton would play. They do. Is it a bit of a risk given the opposition?
Yeah, there's always risks that you have to manage, and that's one of the things that we've tried to manage this week. One of the most disruptive things is the training week was compromised as a result. So we had young Paddy Jackson training at 10 for Tuesday and Wednesday, and Johnny's only really done one training with us, but he does bring that leadership and that experience that we feel we need against the quality of side we're up against today.
Good luck.
Need some. Thanks, Sonia.
Well, nice to see a coach being so honest there. But these are the Irish players today who will be looking to make their own kind of luck. Keith.
Well, this is the team that Joe Schmidt has kept faith with, and it all absolutely starts in the front row. Rory Best needs to have a much better performance, as does Mike Ross. Ireland were very lacking, and sadly lacking, in leadership skills last weekend. Paul O'Connell needs to deliver. Devin Toner needs to do an awful lot more than just front up in the line out. And this is one of the key elements, of course. Sean O'Brien against Richie McCaw, Jamie Heaslip against the unbelievably talented Kieran Reid. The one change in the side has been at 9, and Conor Murray coming back in, bringing in physicality, and then we see Jonathan Sexton back in the starting with all those huge doubts that were sitting over his head this week. We're looking at Gordon Darcy here, shaven in this one, but you have to see him when you see it. He's got a big monstrous beard, which he hopes nobody will be pulling off before the end of the day. And then in the back row, big doubts over Rob Kearney. Tommy Bowe needs to get back in, and we see Dave Kearney coming in for the hapless McFadden, who got injured last weekend.
Well, you mentioned in particular the back row, and who are the key figures there that are going to be determining, especially right into the breakdown, who actually gets the ascendancy?
Well, it's very hard when you talk about last week's performance, but the intensity or the lack of intensity was a huge flaw. This is Peter O'Mahony. He is one of the key elements and will be the key element of an Irish rugby going forward. He was unbelievably quiet last weekend, and we can't afford to have that to happen. But Jamie Heaslip needs to do an awful lot more. They keep saying he does a huge amount of work, but we need to see it. And Sean O'Brien, I still think, is playing out of position at number 7. I think he's a world-class number 6, and yet he can play very well. But whether he'll be able to outmuscle Richie McCaw, I don't know.
Clive, there's always a talk about the mind games when you play against the All Blacks, perhaps more than any other team that plays this game. And Cian Healy this week did a big interview in which he said, "I categorically refuse to use the words All Blacks." Of course, by saying that, he'd already mentioned them, but then he refused to say it again. Is there an element of that you are almost going in on the defensive before you even actually take the field in a match like this? I think
you've got to be really careful what you say, John, in these weeks, because you don't beat the All Blacks by saying we're going to call them New Zealand. And I think the Ireland performance was so poor last week, and Healy's performance was so poor. I think he should have been really just focusing on his own game, how we're going to get intensity, and almost building the All Blacks up call them the All Blacks, saying we're looking forward to the haka and just to get away from this stuff, because this is the best team in the world they're playing today, and they've just really got to have a massive step up from last weekend.
Clive, you did the same back in 2003 and 2005. Is that an indication that you think there's a mental fragility among the players in dealing with the All Blacks?
No, I don't think so. I think more comes from the media. You hear in the media, everyone's referring to them as the All Blacks, the All Blacks. We made a massive thing where this was just 15 players in black shirts from New Zealand, but we didn't try and make it too big a thing. We just want to focus on, could we play the game faster? Could we play the game quicker? Could we score more tries than them? It wasn't about what we're going to call them. I think it just came out in more kind of the media stuff. But it used to drive me nuts at times when the media were really building these guys up into some sort of superstars where potentially they're not. They're just 15 players that you've got to match them, and that's the secret to this.
But isn't the key thing often when anybody's playing against the All Blacks, when you actually look at the team sheets, and if you're a player, but if you're involved in the sort of ancillary staff as well, and you think, I wonder how many of our players will get into their side.
I used to love that. On the Friday night, I would always list our players against their players. I'd always try to really build it up that there's no one in their team will make our team. Even if deep down you think they would, you wouldn't say that. So you're always trying to just get this across. It is 15 against 15, and they are beatable.
Were their eyes rolled to heaven when that was said? Clive, is the question.
Okay, well, the great thing, of course, about New Zealand is that even when you think you've got them on the ropes, they somehow or other manage to find a killer punch.
Steve, everyone asks, how on earth do you beat the All Blacks? I'm going to ask you what the answer is.
Just play better than them, I suppose. Yeah, that's a... I'm not sure. I haven't thought too much about that. I think what we try and concentrate on is making sure that our week's all about preparing well and coming out with an intensity and a purpose and a range of skill sets that make us hard to beat. So I guess that's the way to beat us as well.
You'll say it's just another game, but how important is it to you and your players that you finish this clean sweep?
Oh, look, when we reflect on it over summer, if we manage to do it, then that'll be nice. But the most important thing is that we perform well. We know that we've got a talented group, and if they perform well, that'll be a reflection of how well we've prepared, what we've done at training, then if we get beaten, then Ireland have played better than us, and we just have to take that on the chin.
Tinkered with the winning team, 6 changes, albeit 2 enforced through injury. What's the thinking behind that at this stage?
Yeah, well, it looks like a lot of changes, but I mean, a couple of the front rowers have changed round, and one starting and the other one now coming off the bench. So we use a whole 23-man squad every time, and we also think that fresh legs is important at this time of the year for us. So that's why we've done it.
Well done, good luck.
Thank you.
So 6 changes. This is the pack, Keith.
And even when the All Blacks chop and change their selection, it still looks incredibly imposing. Andrew Hoare is in at number 2, and what could be his last time playing for the All Blacks. He gets his chance to come out to finish off this great season. There's been a very late change, and Brodie Retallick is back in. If Kieran Reid is number 1 player in the world at the moment, I think Retallick is number 2. He's been incredible. And this has just been the sharpest element of New Zealand's game. Kieran Reid, Richie McCaw and Stephen Lutau have done incredibly well all season and deliver always.
And behind that, Clive?
And in the back division, a great opportunity for Aaron Kruger coming in for Dan Carter with Aaron Smith. Outstanding playing. Kruger gets a real chance now to really establish himself. Arguably the best midfield in world rugby, Marn Nuno, the key linchpin. But watch out for Ben Smith, a real flyer playing at outside centre. And the world's best back 3, Israel Dagg, Corey Jane, Julian Sevilla, absolutely awesome, and this is the strength of this New Zealand team.
An awesome team that is missing probably the most famous rugby player in the world, and he's with Sonia.
Sadly, Dan Carter's watched more rugby than played it this season due to injury, and a spectator again today, Dan. I just wonder, how frustrated are you not to be out there?
No, very frustrated. It's been the story of my year, really. Far too many injuries. But at the same time, I'm really excited, for the team. We've got a summer, to enjoy after this, but right throughout the week, we've been concentrating on this game and really focused to finish the season well.
Obviously, the All Blacks can end with a clean sweep this season. How much has that given this side added motivation today, Dan?
Yeah, I think, we've realised how rare that is. My 11 years, I've never been involved in a side that's achieved that. So, it's important that we turn up tonight and play extremely well, because I'm sure the Irish, they're going to be fired up and wanting to beat us tonight. So, we've got to make sure we go to those dark places and do all the little things well. There's no shortcuts tonight.
What's the secret to the success? People keep asking how you do it, game after game, year after year.
I think it's just, the environment that we've created. Guys are wanting to achieve, greatness, and when you've got that kind of environment, no matter who's playing, they want to reach such a high level, and we put a huge focus on wanting to get better every week. So we never look too far ahead. As long as we're better than we were the week before, and that's exactly what it'll be tonight. We'll be better than we were last week, and just continue to improve.
Hard lines that you're not playing today, but thanks for your time.
Thank you.
The incomparable Dan Carter, on a different time zone, I think, to the rest of us, but sometimes playing like he's on a different planet. As often does this man.
Yeah, I had a conversation with Sean Fitzpatrick about Kieran Reid last week, and he was basically saying that from 3 years ago, Reid has upped the quantity and quality of his training drastically. He's nearly double the amount of training. He's changed body shape. He was a bulkier player 3 years ago. He's become sleek. He's turning up in the back line. He is giving try-scoring passes. He's scoring tries for fun at the moment.
Clive, you're one of the great students of stats when it comes to rugby football, but if we show some here, which shows in the matches that the All Blacks have played against France and England, the number of tackles that the All Blacks have made is almost double what their opponents have done. The amount of possession they've had has almost been a half of what their opponents have had, and yet they win. How does that happen?
Well, you see the figures here, and I think the key ones are territory. They've had only 40% of the territory compared with France, nearly 60%. Huge amount of tackles, but they've just got such firepower outside. And then if you look at the England figures here, 38% territory and just a small amount of ball really, but it's the firepower. They just know that to get the ball, they've got such amazing players. And against England, against those stats, they made 5 clear line breaks. England made 0. So you can have all the ball in the world, John, but unless you've got players who can break through, really create chances, it's just a very tough afternoon.
I think it comes down to patience and decision making. They make the right decision all the time, even if they have to wait 15, 20 minutes to do it. They kick a huge amount of ball, but they don't kick it away. They kick it for territory, they kick it very well. But when they get the chance, when there's a chink in the armour of the opposition, they take it nearly every time.
Well, there's the reception for the Irish team. I think it's safe to say that was quite loud.
Well, I did actually have to check with Clive to see whether his heart was in good working order before we took up the standing position.
A few words about tactics, because the preamble at internationals here obviously goes on a lot longer than it does in many other places because of introduced to the president and things like that, so we've still got time to talk. Everybody has their opinions about, in a match like this, how you go out and approach playing the All Blacks. And then there's the very distinguished Irish international in one of the papers this morning saying that he felt in the first 10 minutes the thing was to unsettle them by doing something they simply wouldn't expect. Whether it was going to be throw a very unusual line out, whether to do some ludicrous move in the backs, just to make them think, hang on a moment, we weren't expecting that.
I don't want to get kind of caught up in gimmicks or elements like that. I mean, there's one thing as a guarantee, and bearing in mind we've never beaten New Zealand, so it's very hard, and any experience I have, unfortunately, is flawed by that fact. But you have to meet it with a full level of intensity. Without it, they can actually tear you asunder.
I think, John, also to understand, this New Zealand team is going to score tries. They're going to score at least 4 or 5 tries, so you've got to put a game plan on there. You absolutely have to score tries. You're not going to beat this. It's not going to be a low-scoring game. So you have to really work out how you can score tries against this game. England last week scored 1 try to a driving line-out. We should have kept going to there, and I think there's real opportunities to do that. And Ireland got a chance today, but they've got a game plan to score tries.
There's the President of Ireland, Michael D. Higgins, and he's accompanied by the President of the Irish Rugby Union, Pat Fitzgerald, and they'll be introduced to all the players. While they're doing that, let's have a quick word with our wise owls up in the commentary box. I think we can see it. Can we see the...
Hello? Can anybody
Brian,
hear?
you played against the All Blacks, and you beat the All Blacks. So how do you do it?
Well, you just have to make the intensity match theirs, and then when you get, it is so simple and trite that it's almost not worth saying, but you just have to be more accurate. England last week they made as many carries over the gain line as anyone has done in the last year against the All Blacks, and still the All Blacks ended up scoring 3 tries. And if you allow that to happen, then you are going to be on the wrong end of the result. In one way, it's very simple as an aim, but it's very difficult to achieve.
Probably ought to say as well that the All Blacks are big, but they're not actually that big. The President of Ireland is actually not that tall, which is probably exaggerates the differential in height there. Philip Matthews, afternoon to you. How do you view this afternoon? With a measure of trepidation or perhaps a bit of hope too?
Well, I think Joe Schmidt looks at it with a measure of trepidation as well. His comment to Sonia was, needing that little bit of luck, and he's absolutely right as well in terms of the intensity is needed, but also the head, because if Ireland, particularly in defence, don't have the intensity but don't have the organisation, they could be cut apart very, very early. And in attack, as Brian has said, we've got to be ambitious in attack. But I think the thing that interests me and impresses me most about this New Zealand team is their ability in the contact situation. They run with the ball in 2 hands because they're looking for the offload, and the supporting players are running lines confident that the offload is going to come. We've seen that from the likes of Kieran Reid, so watch that today. If Irish players are going into contact just looking to go into ground, that's the rock in which their attack will perish. They've got to go for offloads today, Ireland, if they're going to get in behind and break this All Black defence.
And a brave decision to play Johnny Sexton, assuming that he's fit, but we won't know until the first ball is played quite how fit he is.
Well, Schmidt trusts him, and he wants the man who he knows can deliver on a big occasion to do it, and so he has held out for the last minute. We watched him doing a fitness test here at the very end, which is a big gamble.
Clive, thoughts overall?
First of all, wonderful day, great day for rugby. I just really hope Ireland go out and surprise the New Zealand team by the way they're going to play. So, for example, instead of kick your goals, go for lineouts, go for scrums, go for the attack, try and score tries and try and outscore them, and we could be in for a fantastic day.
Well, if this is going to be a day of Irish sporting history when Ireland beat the All Blacks for the first time, it will be described for you by Eddie Battler after the anthems.
the crowd have responded, and Joe Schmidt has not responded to the calls for changes. It's the same Irish pack, but a different temperature has been ordered, and things have got considerably more heated already here at the Aviva Stadium. Behind the scrum, Gordon Darcy back into the midfield, the Carney brothers on the wing and at fullback. The formidable All Blacks. A late change, Brodie Retallick comes into the second row, Luke Romano is out. Richie McCaw will captain from the back row and behind the scrum. Well, there's so much talent there, just the merest whiff of a chance and they will be away. The All Blacks have their own way of raising their core temperature. Brian O'Driscoll, can he beat the All Blacks for the first time? Can Ireland for the first time ever beat the All Blacks? 26 losses, 1 draw, and this team played 13, won 13 this year. Good afternoon, Philip Matthews.
Good afternoon, Eddie. And I'm just looking at those Irish faces facing that hackle. I can see a lot of emotion in this Irish team. Cian Healy has spoken quite a lot during the week. There's an awful lot of emotion there, so there'll be no shortage of passion.
Can you feel the heat, Brian?
Well, you can, and Ireland actually have more starting caps, so they have the experience on the field. Whether or not that translates into the sort of performance that's needed remains to be seen, but let's look forward at least to a cracking test match.
Today's referee, Nigel Owens of Wales. Aaron Cruden wears the number 10 shirt. There was a time when life without Dan Carter was deemed impossible for the All Blacks. Not now. Aaron Cruden has come in and played exceptionally well. Tommy Bowe gets Ireland underway. Conor Murray arrives quickly at scrum half. Johnny Sexton, Paul O'Connell. Rob Kearney. O'Connell again. The All Blacks have earned themselves a turnover. Aaron Smith, their scrum half. Cruden. Israel Dagg, scragged down by Devon Toner and Dave Kearney. Penalty goes Ireland's way.
A little bit of afters. Something and nothing. But it certainly fired the crowd up.
Well, Ireland showing intent from the off there. Paul O'Connell coming to making that late run, but he was given the ball way too deep. And New Zealand nearly closed that down and got the turnout. They're going to have to do an awful lot of that at pace, but on the gain line. If they're doing that far too deep, they're just going to set themselves up for the turnover.
Good little stab forward from the penalty by Johnny Sexton. There are concerns about his hamstring. Israel Dagg hasn't scored tries this year, but such a threat from fullback. Rory Best to throw. Paul O'Connell safely down to Conor Murray. Richie McCaw makes the tackle. Cian Healy to Sean O'Brien. Jamie Heaslett tackled by his opposite number, Kieran Reid. The bearded Gordon Darcy. The very bearded Gordon Darcy. Rob Kearney held up drive gets him going forward and to ground. It is there for Murray. Devon Toner. Darcy to O'Driscoll, came off New Zealand, and that is good, promising play. It's a knock-on, we'll have a scrummage.
Well, Ireland have the confidence to take the ball through phases. They just need to be closer to the gain line to make sure they get over quicker and get the requisite numbers in to win quick ball. Paul O'Connell there. Oh, the fine margins, aren't they, Philip? You know, that was a good line-out win, but it was just slightly too far outside the scrum half's reach. It spoke a little bit, which slowed everything down. You need to be precise in everything, and here is another aspect which, let's face it, is open to interpretation.
Yeah, as last week against Australia, the Irish scrum was not coordinated. They weren't making that hit as a solidate. They really need to do that and pay a lot more respect to the New Zealand scrum if they're going to get parity.
Bind! Set! Yes, 9!
Good strike, good scrum by Ireland.
Play on, play on, play on!
Dave Carney.
No interference! Release!
Cian Healy. The charge against Sam Whitelock. Devon Toner, his charge. Ireland present the ball well. Jamie Heaslip takes on Aaron Cruden, gets through the outside half. Peter O'Mahony. Conor Murray, is he down? What a start it would be for Ireland. Jerome Garces advises Nigel Owens, but we're going upstairs. Graham Hughes, the television match official.
Question yes or no. Therefore, he's going to have to find something. Well, that's down. That's a try. And that's a fantastic start by Ireland. Oh. Philip. Well, as a neutral, what do you say?
There was a hint of a knock-on there. Does the ball hit the ground?
It does. I didn't see from the other angle. I didn't see this. It looks as though it's just come out.
I think that might have been knocked on. I think the ball has come out of Conor Murray's grasp, hit the ground, and then he's got the pressure.
Well, a good job, we're both wrong.
Well, we needed that one. That was a great phase that Ireland went through. They really got themselves on the front foot, and role reversal. New Zealand defence very static, very much on the back foot, and allowing Ireland to boss the contact zone.
The decision that mattered, Graham Hughes. The try is awarded, and here is Johnny Sexton, and the giant roar gives way to the famed Aviva Stadium hush. Goes the volume. Ireland 7-0 in front.
Well, you couldn't start any better, and the great thing from an Irish perspective was that was a try that was taken. It was worked, it was well worked, wasn't from a mistake, it wasn't from poor defence, it was from physical direct play and good quick ball.
Just look, the backward step. Sean O'Brien runs into Ben Smith, and Ben Smith is driven backwards in the tackle. That keeps the momentum going. All Blacks have been driving people back heretofore. They're going to need to change that.
Devon Toner couldn't take the restart. Stephen Luatua. Cruden gets through Jamie Heaslip's tackle. Nono. Aaron Smith, Israel Daggs puts it through, and well, they are so good at turning the half chance into a try that Ireland might have some relief at only a line out.
Well, having not taken the restart, Ireland will be thankful that the All Blacks didn't finish that off, and they have an opportunity for a very crucial throw and catch here. But what they really can't afford to do is give points away immediately after taking, a 7-point lead.
Rory Best finds Paul O'Connell. Here's Sean O'Brien. In attack and now in defence. Ireland are having a fantastic start. That's not gone very far from Conor Murray, but it's back safely in green hands. Toner, Johnny Sexton, Brian O'Driscoll. Dave Carney does well to get that ball into touch.
Well, the idea was nice, but the execution wasn't really there. New Zealand had the numbers out, there wasn't much on. I think Carney, had he got that, would have put boot to ball, and there was plenty of space behind. But again, New Zealand making the breakthrough through that wonderful little pass through the tackle from Aaron Cruden. That's what put Manu Nonu through. Ireland are going to have to be wise to that.
Andrew Hall to throw into this line-out. Luatua takes it. Richie McCaw on the front peel. Charlie Fa'amuina, the prop. Aaron Smith, tackled by Sean O'Brien. Inches now from the line, the All Blacks.
Hands away, it's a red black. Back.
Cruden, Nonu. Brian O'Driscoll tracked him well. Paul O'Connell comes flying in, referee waves play on. Turnover for Ireland. It's as good as scoring tries as Johnny Sexton fires it down to halfway. Israel Dag. Heaslip this time does make a tackle. Conor Murray. That's a good kick behind Corey Jane. Aaron Cruden. And Ireland are back in New Zealand territory.
Well, there was a huge roar there for the Irish effort, but what they should be roaring at is the work that was done in and around this tackle. Nonu brings 3 players in, and just watch here, it's the first man who's in, it's O'Driscoll, and then that's a crucial part there because it slowed down the ball sufficiently for players to come in behind and then turn the ball over. A very timious intervention by Brian O'Driscoll.
Ireland collect themselves before this line-out. O'Connell gets fingers to it, straight down. Heaslip in midfield. Rory Best. Cian Healy back to Best. Game of continuity by Ireland. Heaslip goes back against the flow. Pauses. Goes straight again. Sean O'Brien! Great pass to Conor Murray! Murray hauled down 2 metres short. Good Darcy waits. Sean O'Brien again. Murray. Rory Best. The dummy. Try for the Ulster hooker. What a start by Ireland.
Oh, I'm glad for Sean O'Brien's sake that Ireland got over the line there. They had a huge overlap going left. But they're busting the breakdown. They're now getting the ball away in the contact area quickly. And this New Zealand defence is on the back foot. It's static. It's not meeting the Irish defence at all.
Well, that move there is the unexpected that people were talking about. Wrap around, loop from a prop to a hooker. And what's been impressive about the Ireland effort thus far has been the fact that when they've got behind the gain line, they've managed to get men in and get quick ball. It's not been slowed down. The All Blacks have not been able to reorganise properly, and Ireland have taken the chances. Very impressive.
The challenge for Ireland here is they've got to keep this level of intensity up. They cannot start to think, sit back and stop taking those risks. They've got to keep going like this.
Well, look, there will be a point when the All Blacks come into the game and they'll have successive things, and you know, Ireland just have to keep that, especially after scoring. Don't give a silly penalty away. Don't give any opportunity. Make New Zealand work for everything.
Right, keep an eye on the next time.
Giant glass wall of the Aviva Stadium, and between the posts, Ireland lead 14 points to nil, 2 converted tries. New Zealand have been rocked by the ferocity and the skill level of this Irish start.
Jamie, he's been particularly prominent, making the gain line and getting beyond the gain line, really getting this Irish attack going forward.
Aaron Cruden towards Devon Toner. Toner fingertips to it.
Off green here. Line out or scrum?
Andrew Hoare dries the ball. Richie McCaw having chosen the line out.
That's good. It's easy to move you, so you take a step. Good man. Stay green.
Long throw, well taken by Kieran Reid. Ma'a Nonu at Johnny Sexton, who stays down after the hit. Ben Smith, candidate for Player of the Year. Cian Healy makes the tackle. Aaron Cruden. Sean O'Brien hauls him back. Luatua. Ma'a Nonu. Mike Ross with the tackle. Ben Smith, candidate for World Player of the Year. Ireland away, come away with it yet again. Tommy Bowe, did that go forward? Play on, says the referee. Ireland have stolen ball again in their 22, and away they come through Gordon Darcy. Long to Sexton. Little stab through Sexton. Play on, says Nigel Owens. Cruden. Tommy Bowe watches it go into touch.
One thing was interesting, the All Blacks had extra numbers on the left when they moved there. It wasn't quite, that's subsequent to what I'm going to describe now, it wasn't quite the rush defence, but Brian O'Driscoll was up in front of his inside backs, and that closed off the option, forced New Zealand back inside, whereupon the tackle was made and O'Driscoll did more defensive work.
Time out.
Nigel Owens stops play. Rory Best is having attention. Here he is, the hooker, try scorer. That looks sad. Shake of the head.
Looks the body language says it all, really, in Rory Best, doesn't it? I don't think he's going to be continuing this afternoon.
Sean Cronin already poised to come on. Well, while he was on, what a quarter an hour for Rory Best, and how sad it is to see him go.
And the Irish must hope that doesn't stall their momentum, because the line-up was working well. He made the obvious contributions in the loose, but it's right at this phase, the set phases, which are absolutely crucial.
Time on.
Here is the new man, Sean Cronin. Devon Toner safely found. This is Sean O'Brien, and this has worked well for Ireland.
Okay now. Still moving.
And moving well. Richie McCaw.
Is offside, but not pulled.
Penalty advantage to Ireland. Well, Ireland can do no wrong at the moment.
The best thing about this is not just the technical discipline which they are showing and they're driving them properly, is the intent. It's the ambition to do that and say, right, we'll set our stall out. You know, we don't care that you've got the reputation that you have. We're going to do this, and we're going to do it successfully.
Absolutely, and that's a real indication that Richie McCaw in desperation. I mean, not only coming from the side, it was the back of the side, wasn't it? It was, and that's something that Nigel Owens really just had to think. That will have marked New Zealand's card. They're going to have to be mindful of that. If Ireland can maintain that momentum up front, penalties will start to come.
It's a great penalty coming in the back of the side. Second job.
Stay slightly over, okay?
For Sean Cronin. Paul O'Connell this time. Conor Murray waited for Cronin, but it's gone the other way.
Advantage black.
Andrew Hall, the hooker.
Advantage over.
Cruden to Ma'anonu. Johnny Sexton does enough just to bring the centre down. Cruden through the gap. Gordon Darcy cut off the pass, but here goes Aaron Smith. Sean O'Brien does well. Had to spin and fly. Cruden. Israel Dagg looks it on. And away comes Rob Kearney. Kieran Reid is not going to catch him. Rob Kearney for Ireland. His brother Dave is arriving now. What a celebration. What a game by the Irishman.
Not in your wildest Guinness-fueled fantasies could you have predicted this. And that came from a great tackle by Sean O'Brien, because there was a 4-2 outside him when he managed to get hold of Aaron Smith.
Well, I was going to say at 14-0 the All Blacks won't be particularly rattled, but I honestly believe they're going to be rattled now. Look at that, that was nobody home, because New Zealand are committing everything to attack there. And look at the Irish bench, they are absolutely overjoyed. Now, Ireland have laid a foundation on which they will be very disappointed if they allow New Zealand back into this game. New Zealand will come back in. They will score tries, but Ireland have just got to keep this intensity up.
This is a winning position from which you should, you should be able to defend. But again, come back to this. Make sure if you do concede points, so they are absolutely earned by the other side.
Absolutely right. Against any other side, you would say that 19-0 is a winning position. I think we know this All Blacks team too well.
It is impossible to describe the difference between the feeling at the Aviva Stadium last time out against Australia and what is happening right here and now. The first blip, because it comes off the post, unconverted, 19-0, Ireland lead.
Well, it may be impossible to, just the unusual Israel Dagg trying to play the ball. It may be impossible to describe the difference, but it's explicable. And that's because the intensity that Ireland are showing in this game, compared with the Australia game, is just by several factors higher.
Ireland again go towards Devon Toney. He should be able to take this one. The challenge not there. Kieran Reid knew exactly what he was doing. He wasn't offside. Conor Murray. One for Dave Kearney to chase. Israel Dagg waits. Kearney arrives. Good counter-rucking by Ireland. That's out. Aaron Smith collared by Kearney D, who is so fast. Back to his feet. Reid hasn't had a look in yet, the great number 8. Cruden goes back. Stephen Luatua. Cruden. There are numbers for Australia here. Ben Smith opts the kick when there was the overlap, and it falls to Rob Kearney.
Back up, Black. Play on.
Play on. Sam Whitelock, the second row. Ma'a Nonu. Ball is out. Play has to stop.
Well, as it turned out for Dave Keane, it was a good job that it wasn't kept in, because he wasn't in a position to... well, if that's gone his way and it wasn't out, then they've been the beneficiaries, because it was played himself into trouble.
Kieran Reid supplies ball from the line-out. Brodie Retallick, the second row, takes it on. Infield ball to Israel Dagg. Sean Cronin was waiting for him. Jamie Heaslip again, busy around the fringes. Cruden, Luatua, Paul O'Connell with the tackle. Sam Whitelock. Sean Cronin tackles the big second row. Ma'a Nonu. Johnny Sexton, the tackler. Wyatt Crockett, the prop. Whitelock. Untidy pass, well picked up by Aaron Cruden. Luatua fires it infield. Brodie Retallick for the line. The All Blacks keeping the ball alive and creeping closer. Faumuina. Knock on by the All Blacks. Ireland have the scrum, and listen to the roar.
Well, hugely impressed with Aaron Cruden. He's looking very, very dangerous. He's looking for the offload all the time, and Ireland are really stretched to close him down, but they're doing it. They're maintaining that intensity, but they've really got to keep that intensity going. 2-on-1, stopping the offloads and stopping this All Black attack in its tracks.
Well, importantly, what they did there was they trusted in the defence. Very easy when you're under pressure just to keep the foot in too long, just to keep your hand on the ball and get spotted. What they did, especially Paul O'Connell twice there, just hands on long enough to slow the ball down, not long enough to get penalised.
Cian Healy. Sleight of hand by Aaron Cruden. Stephen Luatua keeps the ball alive.
Lovely piece of dexterity coming up. Yesterday at Wembley, the similar one to the Rugby League semi-final resulted in a try.
New Zealanders are involved in a couple of contests this weekend. The mighty All Blacks, 13 victories behind them this year, are trailing 19-0 at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin.
Time on. Go in, Greg, you call this, okay? I'll watch you as well. Crouch. Bind. Set. Yes, 9.
Gordon Darcy. And the ball fires off Stephen Luatua. It hit the corner flag. It'll be an Ireland ball.
Went back, post in, 22.
22, drop out, not a line out. I was about to come to referee Brian Moore to sort that one out.
Everything at the moment is going Ireland's way.
It is, and they're forcing things. I mean, talking about playing a lot of rugby in your own 22, but in your own dead ball line, I mean, it's thrilling, nail-biting stuff, and only 23 minutes gone.
Great pickup by Sean Cronin. Paul O'Connell straight at Andrew Hall.
Out now, 2. It was
Conor Murray. Corey Jane collects. Israel Dag. Julian Sevilla. Ben Smith. Richie McCaw to Aaron Cruden. Devon Toner races up on his opposite number, Brodie Retallick. Ben Smith. Ben Smith, this is where they're so dangerous. Aaron Smith. Andrew Hall, collared by Rob Kearney. Smith again. Corey James, Stephen Luatua. Dave Kearney hangs on. It's Tommy Bowe who hangs on to an ankle. Kieran Reid has to stoop and gather. Cruden, a little stab through. It's going to be a try for Julian Sevilla. The All Blacks are back in this game.
Well, it was a well-worked try. It was on from the moment that the Irish backs came up and were stood static. Having said that, it was a very intelligent play to see where the gap was for the kick.
Yeah, this has been coming a while now. Heretofore, Ireland have been able to snuff out the attack by closing the ball carrier down midfield. But that space and the width on this All Black attack, look at that. Ireland had 2 or 3 men out there, but All Blacks really had the numbers, and that little kick in behind, there was plenty of space in behind, and Sevilla, well, he knew what was coming. Aaron Cruden has been playing a really smart game so far.
Well, I mentioned earlier on the way Brian O'Driscoll had come up and the fact it had forced the New Zealanders back inside. This time, they solved it.
Aaron Cruden with his right foot adds the 2 points, but it was the little kick through with his left boot. Inch perfect.
I tell you, although not many people may link this, if you think about it, Ireland actually won the restart 22, and the kick that they put up was the first kick that either didn't go very long or landed with chasers on it, and from there New Zealand worked the position where for eventually they scored. You know, Ireland cannot afford, if they're going to do a kicking game, it either has to be behind and make players turn, or they've got to get men under the ball so that the New Zealanders do not have space.
Sexton, high and straight to Richie McCaw. Mike Ross helps Sean O'Brien bring the New Zealand captain down.
Stay black. Okay.
The Kearney brothers together. Sexton
Let him go.
puts it back into the Dublin air. Tommy Bowe goes up. Gets a finger to it. It's back on Ireland's side. Peter O'Mahony. Open play, no offside. Conor Murray picks up the ball. The forwards arrive. Big Devon Toner at scrum half. Sexton, Gordon Darcy, Rob Kearney, Sean Cronin. The All Blacks have fought their way out of trouble, but they could be back in it now. Paul O'Connell, hands off. Brodie Retallick, Richie McCaw is grounded as a tackler. Stabbed through by Johnny Sexton. Israel Dag puts it downfield, straight out of play.
Well, we'd love to have seen that ball go right just out of shot. Conor Murray's coming back to where the New Zealand defence are. There's Ireland have men and an overlap to the right. Paul O'Connell might have offloaded then, but Ireland, that ball needed to go right instead of left from there, but they've still got a good attacking position.
And you were onside is open play, not a problem.
Again, Ireland just collect their thoughts as they approach the line out.
Quite right, because what they should plan to do from here, from this incursion into the All Black 22, is to come away with some form of score, whether it's a drop goal, penalty or whatever, to make sure it counts.
Peter O'Mahony is the jumper. Sean O'Brien, as usual, with the ball in his grasp. Good drive by the Irish forwards. They know that the All Blacks are trying to come through the middle. Conor Murray has to play it quickly. Seconds are counting. Away comes Murray. Clever pass to Dave Carney. Cian Healy takes on McCaw and smashes him out of the way. Sexton. Brian O'Driscoll through Nanu.
Please.
Mike Ross wasn't expecting it. Makes ground. The tight head prop. Everybody's involved for Ireland. Gordon Darcy brings play back the other way with black shirts hanging on to him. Sean O'Brien with the pickup. Conor Murray to Paul O'Connell. Demtona with him. Richie McCaw not offside.
Lost now.
Ireland keep it close to the fringes and surge on again. They need a scrum half. Murray arrives. Sexton. Cian Healy. Sexton on his own. Demtona. Rob Carney tries to pull black hands out of the way.
Hands away. Don't touch.
O'Connell. Cian Healy standing start.
You can't go from there. Nobody's fault. Green forward. Green ball.
Green ball, that's the important thing.
It's fine. You can't get away from there. No problem.
Also important that Ireland didn't panic, didn't try to force a pass when it wasn't on, turn the ball over by a knock-on. Same again here. They need to go through the phases, have the discipline to do so until something comes.
Conor Murray did well there not to panic. A ball coming out probably a little bit early for him. O'Driscoll again just going beyond the gain line, and that's what Ireland are doing. Anytime that they are taking that forward, they getting beyond the gain line and getting on the front foot.
There were two crucial interventions there in two breakdowns when ostensibly Ireland didn't have the numbers in there.
Everything's good until then, but as the ball comes, still not acceptable. Keep it up, please. It's moving too much. No, stationary, stable. Just once the ball's on number 8's feet, keep it up. Yeah, well, you change with it.
Scrimmage.
And to the middle, not off it. Time on.
Referee Brian telling the scrum half to put it in straight.
Well, it's fine telling him to do it. You've got to make sure he does.
We're all good until the ball's at the number 8's feet. Keep it there. Time on.
Wyatt Crockett, Andrew Hoare, Charlie Faumuina.
Crouch!
In the All Black front row. This is Conor Murray.
Bind! Set! Yes, 9!
Straight through, and here comes the Irish surge. Murray, though, feeds Gordon Darcy. Penalty to Ireland. Offence at the scrummage.
Whip wheeling and down.
Down. 1.
Well, it's a very solid scrum by Ireland. Might like to have seen that ball go wide on the back into traffic, but looks like they've got a bit of an edge there, Brian. What do you think? Or is that just a one-off?
Well, New Zealand decided to wheel to try and counter that, and the important thing was that the Irish tried to stay square, and of course, if you look at that, why would Ireland want to wheel from that position? In fact, they didn't, and they got the benefit because they tried to scrummage straight. I thought there was a high tackle in midfield anyway.
Mike Ross, well, he was savaged for his scrummaging against Australia. Today, the individual is different. The collective performance is different.
Well, I think particularly in scrummaging, Eddie, yes, the collective is different. They seem to be scrummaging as one today.
Fast the balls come in, so I'm dealing with it clear and obvious, okay?
through this time. 3 out of 4 for Jonathan Sexton. Ireland are into the 20s. Joe Schmidt, the coach, must be delighted. Only there is time to go, but Ireland lead 22-7, and that was the forward march.
Well, you see Ireland in line. Who was the first person to go out of perpendicular? It's the All Blacks. George will be really pleased by the fact that, as I said earlier, make sure that that period of possession resulted in some points.
Tommy Bowe takes the catch. The change of direction by Aaron Cruden. Conor Murray again, not a lot of distance.
He's not in fear, he's gone back.
Richie McCaw can't catch it. Sean Cronin comes away with it. In fact, it's not Sean Cronin, he's out in the 3/4. More distance this time from Conor Murray. Well taken, Julian Savea.
Stay there, stay. Okay.
Johnny Sexton orders Dave Carney out of the way. Penalty against Ireland.
5. Moving across is no good. Let's come out, okay? You're moving across within the 10. You have a penalty here or a scrum over there. So the penalty is here. 10 on. Penalty is here. Scrum is over there.
The offer, penalty or scrum?
Well, kicked it back there.
Major debate going on. It's
scrum?
not that difficult.
Just there.
Scrum.
Graham, we're going back to the
And
right
that was
place
for
here,
obstruction on Aaron Cruden
yes.
by Paul O'Connell. We didn't really see that.
Say again. Try and meet the line here, okay.
Oh my word, we're going back for the penalty now.
But once it's chosen...
My fault, I told him the wrong place, we'll go with the penalty, okay? My fault, I told him the wrong place.
Oh, well, that's the explanation.
Yeah, Paul was offside, within the 10. Cheers, Graham.
He was offside. It wasn't obstruction. Paul O'Connell needed to retreat from that kick.
Well done, Rob Kearney. Under pressure now from Corey Jane, but Ireland are back in the New Zealand half for the moment. Kieran Reid, Stephen Luatua, Israel Dag to Julian Savea, the try scorer. So dangerous, but Sean O'Brien with another tackle. Gordon Darcy, who has also tackled his socks off in this first
kept
half.
this one up as well.
Ireland put in, and another huge roar goes up.
Well, the intensity here, everybody is putting themselves forward and getting it. Gordon Darcy on 2 or 3 occasions is coming in making tackles where you're expecting your forwards, your back row to make tackles. The work rate off the ball on behalf of this Irish team is a quantum different from what it was last week.
Well, one feeds on the other, doesn't it? The crowd atmosphere, the performance, cyclical. Each contributes, and of course, when you're in the forwards, if you see backs doing that, then that gives you an immense lift. As a back, when you see the forwards doing the business in the scrum, it gives you that. And all the components of the Irish game at the moment are going well.
Crouch.
3 and a bit minutes to manage until half time.
Set. Yes, 9. Didn't touch it. No.
Needs a foot on it. Safely delivered to Jamie Heaslett. Conor Murray drills it forward. That's a good place to be as the half draws to a close.
Intelligent play, realistic play, well executed.
Ireland very, very comfortable on their own ball. Half-time, Brian, do you reckon you might see the Franks brothers coming in just to try and attack this Irish scrum?
You may do, although the problem for the All Blacks at the moment is they're being out-muscled. They're losing the battle of the hit on the breakdown. They rarely do, but the Irish are getting enough numbers in. And as I said earlier on, a couple of times, even when they didn't have the contribution of one player has been enough, to make the difference. It's been exemplary stuff.
Kieran Reid hands it out towards Aaron Smith. Cruden. Fabulous catch by Brian O'Driscoll, who keeps going, crawling on all fours, but making ground. Paul O'Connell Offloads Tommy Bowe off the right wing. Gordon Darcy, what a first half he's had. Sean Cronin, he too has seen plenty of the ball. Mike Ross, a pillar at the scrummage. Cian Healy bursts through a tackle. Healy has... It'll be interesting to see how many yards he has made, how many players he's just smashed out of the way. Tall Devon Toner. Paul O'Connell waits. Sean Cronin is there for him. Tries to go under Sam Whitelock.
So again, Eddie, Ireland need to be patient and make sure they get into a position where at least they have a drop at goal, at the very least, to end this half. If not more.
To Toner.
Tackle made.
Paul O'Connell hangs onto it. Sam Whitelock wraps him up in the tackle. Darcy. Again, Darcy hops out of a tackle, delivers the pass. Sean O'Brien. Will we see a drop goal from Sexton? He's not in position yet. Cian Healy. Sexton. Darcy's dropped it. Tommy Bolt now, danger here.
Vantage over.
Rob Kearney will have to tear back. He's got Corey Jane bearing down on him. Kearney does get back. Julian Sarrea is there. Conor Murray. Brian O'Driscoll did well to get back to O'Driscoll. Upright on two legs this time, makes ground.
Ireland want to get this off the field now.
Presents it. Sexton to touch. He hears it, and listen to this. This is the Aviva Stadium saying what they think about an extraordinary first half. Half-time, the interval. Ireland 22, New Zealand 7.
Well, there is very little to say about the Irish performance other than everything has been out of the top drawer. They must be exhilarated. The important thing is to be level-headed, to keep disciplined. There will be times when New Zealand come back, but tremendous.
Thank you. Difficult conversation to have in the Irish changing room. They won't have prepared for such a lead. But they were so intelligent as well as intense. Can they keep it going?
Well, it's a big question, isn't it? Can Ireland keep that going, and what are we going to see from the All Blacks? Because they need to bring the level of intensity that Ireland have brought as well.
Aaron Smith, the scrum half. Stephen Luatua, and Sean O'Brien straight into the action as a tackler. Conor Murray can't take it. That's loose, but Israel Dag has it. Long ball, Julian Sarrea. Rob Kearney comes across. Right-footed. Now then, a big charge coming up from Luatua. Devon Toner tries to hold him up. All Blacks into Ireland's half with the hands. Richie McCaw, the captain. Has he let it go? No! Penalty to Ireland!
First man in, beat Rees.
Well, the All Blacks are playing McCaw on one wing, Reid is on the other in two pods.
Well, that was a little scalp for Sean O'Brien. Sean O'Brien getting in on, I suppose, an icon for him. And it has to be said, I think Jamie Heaslip has probably raised his game playing against probably the in-form number 8 today. And that's a wonderful, motivating thing as an individual level, whatever about playing the All Blacks, but playing the best in-form player in your position. And so far, certainly in that first half, Jamie Heaslip, and it has to be said, Sean O'Brien have both responded.
Well, you have to say Sean Cronin has done his job as well when he came on. Difficult circumstances with Rory Brest withdrawing, but he's been spot on so far. There's again.
Devon Toner. Jamie Heaslip out in midfield. Cronin. Wits for Rob Kearney.
What?
Flat pass.
Forward?
not flat. Forward.
My comms are not working, lads.
We're going to have a breakdown here. A break, rather.
Sorry, lads, my
We are
communication
on
is
the verge
down.
of a breakdown,
Forward
but
pass.
there is a
Hang on.
breakdown in communication.
Well, Nigel, we can hear you. You just can't hear each other. And
I've got to stand somewhere. I'll try to go to the away, okay? There's no I
After
couldn't
you've
hear
credit-
anything was called there.
to give credit again for him and his officials, I think they've been very good today. This is it was only marginally, but there you are. It's been called. But that was the sort of trick play that we got in the first half that resulted, with the best run off Cian Healy, and it's the sort of thing been thrown into the mix just to make the All Blacks think. It requires a lot of confidence, though, and that is illustrative of how Ireland feel.
Look how relaxed they are. Rob Kearney sharing a line with a joke with Nigel Owens.
A joke. Do you want to rephrase that? Sorry, yeah.
Changes in the All Black ranks at hooker. Dane Coles comes on instead of Andrew Hoare, and that might be a farewell to the All Black shirt from Andrew Hoare.
It may well be. Dane Coles is known as more of a performer in the loose, but actually first he has to do his job here, because this is an area which has not gone well for New Zealand. Ireland scrummaging is all about concentration. The difference 1 week to the next can simply be that, is whether or not you're committed to it and whether or not you concentrate.
Coming on. Coming. Crouch. Brace. Bind. Set. Yes, 9. Perfect. Keep it up.
Reid feeds Aaron Smith, who then switches. Ma'a Nonu, Ben Smith. Aaron Cruden, Brodie Retallick. Ireland trying to hold him up. Advantage being played. Knock on by New Zealand. Ireland have the put in.
Eddie, most people won't have seen this because it happened and the ball was away, but there was an Irish player who fired into that breakdown that pushed the receiving All Black just a couple of inches back, and that delayed the pass. When that's multiplied as you pass it along the line, the Irish defence is then about 2 yards further up. Very small things are going well for Ireland. They're doing the things that really count.
Crouch.
Sean Cronin replacement against Dane Coles replacement.
Lads, let's quicken this up. Let's get in, please, and let's get on with it.
Here.
Come on, let's get in, lads.
There we go, view from Nausea Camp.
Crouch. Bind. Set. Yes, 9. Yes.
Not straight.
Back over there. Not in the middle.
Free kick to New Zealand. Quickly taken by Kieran Reid. Ireland not 10. Ball's gone forward, but it'll go back. It'll go back. Free kick plus 10.
No, it's a free kick there.
Just little bits of indiscipline
You're
creeping
rolling
in.
it across
Came
in the
from the
middle.
crooked in, then not retreating 10 quick enough for the penalty.
New Zealand opting for the scrummage from the free kick.
Again, I go back to what I said in the first half. If Ireland were to lose because New Zealand take all the points and they've tried it, then fine. But don't give them things. Don't give them things by not getting back, by arguing the decisions, advancing, free kicks that should have been further back, etc.
Middles, as the last one, okay? Crouch! Bind! Lads, why are we making this a problem of spoiling the game now? Let's get in and let's get on with it, please. If you don't listen, you know what's going to happen.
Well, couldn't be much clearer, could you?
Crouch. Bind. Set. Yes, 9.
It does go in straight from a careful Aaron Smith.
Stay bound.
Again, that little switch of direction from the scrum half. Ben Smith, Aaron Cruden on the loop. Conor Murray did well to get back to make the tackle. New Zealand, though, in the 22. Sam Whitelock. The other second row, Brodie Retallick. Cruden. Sean O'Brien went high, grabbed him by the collar. McCaw.
Release.
Driven backwards.
Hughes.
Cruden. Sexton brings him down. Retallick again.
Lost.
Ma'anonu. Tommy Bowe intercepts. Paul O'Connell delivers it for Ireland, and Peter O'Mahony puts a big Munster boot on it. Israel Dagg. Corey Jane, it's got loose. Cian Healy tears forward. Sam Whitelock is there. It's a knock-on advantage to New Zealand. Dagg, new hooker. Coles.
Sixth release. Advantage over.
Charlie Faumuina. Sean O'Brien at a second attempt brings down the prop. Penalty advantage now. Penalty given.
Too slow. 7.
Well, we're in that crucial first 10 of this second half. No quarter gain, nobody really getting an edge here. New Zealand maybe threatening to start to get themselves back into this game. This is a really crucial period now. Ireland need to get themselves out of their half with no improvement on the scoreboard, and at worst, a penalty.
Kieran Reid and Aaron Cruden discuss tactics. Dane Coles will throw in. New Zealand have reduced the numbers. Just 4 in the line-out. Picked up by Devon Toner.
The maul was formed, scrum down, turnover ball.
New Zealand have the put in.
But it was a poor underthrow from Dane Coles.
Oh, he got in the air well, Devon Toner, 6'10". That's why he's there. He's improved his ball carrying, he's improved his general play. And that's why Ireland are now taking full advantage of that additional dimension in terms of your defensive line that that height gives them.
Crouch. Same standards now, please. Bind. Set. Yes, 9.
Rolls in. Kieran Reid puts in a boot. It's out for Aaron Cruden. Savia with O'Driscoll just bringing him down. Smith again. Cruden. Israel Dagg.
I want to check if that touched. Time out. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
We're going upstairs again.
Time out.
Well, I genuinely think not many people knew whether that had gone down or not.
I'm happy with the momentum. I just want you to check if there was a hand underneath the ball as it went to on the line. Okay, so did it touch the line? Momentum and everything is fine. Just check if the grounding, please. Thank you. I hear you now. Try it again. Good. Huh? Yeah.
Just got to see the grounding. Can't see it from there. And there's the body. Nor there.
There's a hand under that.
There's a hand down that, and it's short anyway.
Yeah, okay, show me that other angle again, please. Okay, can I tell you what I've seen?
Yep, go on,
okay. Unless you tell me any different on a different angle or a better view, it looks to me like the ball is held up with an arm underneath.
Yes, I'm with you on that. Okay.
Yep. I'll tell you what as well, if Nigel Owens is going to watch that on the big screen and make his own mind up, why do you need a TMO?
Okay, don't let him walk.
Well, they got there in the end.
No, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying why, you know, if the referees can do that, great, because he's the man anyway.
Is that
was a tough call.
Is that the moment? Philip is talking about this 10-minute period. It's coming to an end. We're nearly up to 50 minutes in Ireland. Still lead.
Just keep it going now.
By 22 points to 7.
Well, you can't really say it, but Julian Silvea is as close as they can get to this near touchline. So New Zealand using the full width of the park.
And he's got 20 metres outside the Irish defender as well.
Aaron Smith to Cruden. Marnono on the crash ball. Gordon Darcy brings him down. And still Savia waits.
Okay, you're fine.
Charlie Faumuina held up, but delivers. Israel Dag can't get the pass away.
Ball is out.
Ball's out. Cruden has to wait because Aaron Smith couldn't find him first time. Inside to Sam Whitelocks. Has to pause.
It's called. Rough call.
Marnono. Dag again stripped by Conor Murray. Tommy Bowe goes into play scrum half. The heroic scrum half is buried, but what a job by him. Wait, penalty to New Zealand.
Oh dear. Now if that was a bit of gamesmanship to try and give extra time, it was dull.
Number 4 came right in and took the chaser out.
Against Devon Toner.
Well, that's just dull.
It is dull, but there was one earlier on in the first half by Luatua that wasn't given. I don't see a huge amount of difference between the two, to be honest.
Well, the only difference is one got caught.
It's dull.
And he didn't need to do it. You know, they've done the brilliant work. They waited for so long. That was about 8 minutes that they soaked up in pressure. They turned the ball and they'd done all the hard work. The other thing is, he'd have got the kick away anyway.
The upshot is that Aaron Cruden is going for goal. "12 minutes into the second half and the gap closes."
I think the stat for the first half was 0 penalties conceded by Ireland. Worryingly, Ireland has started to resort to giving away penalties in the second half. They must stop that.
Although I would say, Phil, if you had at the beginning of that period of sustained pressure said, look, 8 minutes will run down on the clock and we'll only give 3 points away, then I think you'd give it a fair swap, wouldn't you?
Ireland again, in no hurry. They're waiting actually for Brian O'Driscoll to return from having a tension there on the going over the 10-metre line. He'll take some shifting off this field today, although it seems he is going off.
Substitution for Ireland. 23, Luke Fitzgerald replacing number 13, Brian O'Driscoll.
Brian O'Driscoll making the tackle, bouncing off Brodie Retallick. Luke Fitzgerald is on for him. Sam Whitelock with the catch. Sean O'Brien with yet another tackle. Fabulous catch by Dave Carney. Sexton, chance here, Gordon Darcy. Sean Cronin, good feet by the hooker.
Stay out! Lost Black, lost!
Cian Healy against Richie McCaw.
Release.
Luke Fitzgerald. First touch, first contact. Well taken, Devon Toner, high above his 6'10" head. Sean O'Brien. From tackler to runner, and they've handed possession back to New Zealand. Sam Whitelock comes away.
Release.
Jamie Heaslip with the delaying work. Ma'a Nonu. Good tackle again by Conor Murray. Outstanding performance by the scrum half. McCaw to Dane Coles.
That's brilliant work.
It's back in green hands. Sexton. Gordon Darcy on his own, on his feet still. No, it's gone loose. Retallick. Murray again.
Away green.
Tommy Bowe did well. Advantage being played. Savea to Ben Smith. Peter O'Mahony, what an important tackle that was.
Lost green, lost off your feet, lost.
Penalty to New Zealand. Peter O'Mahony limps away.
What did I clearly ask you earlier? You had the ball off your feet, then you must release. I asked you quite clearly down there. Back you go, please.
Sean O'Brien was having the lecture.
Well, that's an accurate representation of what happened. I was about to say just before that, before he hung on, that he'd done the right work, you know. He'd slowed the ball down, only needed to let go of the ball. The Irish defence had already managed to recoup because of his work, just that bit too far. And look, whether you agree with it or not, if a referee tells you, you've got to stop.
If I have to speak to him again to release and he doesn't, it may well be more than a penalty, okay?
The yellow warning, the amber alert.
Well, whether this is a matter of subjective, obviously a matter of opinion, but
if I made a mistake, you have my apologies.
The way that Nigel Owens talks to players, the way in which he controls the game, I think he's top draw. Very clear, concise.
Low, flat, hard, and wide.
Say again.
A miss by Aaron Cruden. Brian O'Driscoll on the touchline. Replacement for Ireland. Kevin McLaughlin comes into the back row. Peter O'Mahony was limping. He still is limping. What a game the number 6 has had.
Okay. Time on.
Paul O'Connell tackles Richie McCaw. The captains meet.
Lost now. It's a fair contest, both of you. We play.
Sean O'Brien so very nearly stole that. Retallick twists and turns, makes a yard. Ma'a Nonu. Kieran Reid hops forward. Retallick to Coles. Gets the pass away. Replacement props, one of the Franks brothers is on. Ma'a Nonu. Luke Fitzgerald over the top. Penalty advantage being played. Penalty to Ireland. Relief floods the stands and the field.
Tell you what, Luke Fitzgerald did really well there.
He played the ball.
Well, there we go. Here we have this. Nonu goes down. So many people will now be shouting, you've got to let him up, you've got to let him up. You don't have to let him up. You don't at all. What you do is exactly what was done there. You try and play the ball, and if he doesn't let go of it, then you get the penalty. Well done, good knowledge of the laws.
Ireland, rarely in the second half, are in New Zealand territory. Sean Cronin with the throw. Safely delivered by Toner. Sexton, Luke Fitzgerald, Rob Carney from fullback. Carney going, still going. Ma'a Nonu comes across. Conor Murray in midfield. Kevin McLaughlin, the new player, he makes a couple of yards when it seemed he would go down. Sexton, Sean Cronin, Paul O'Connell, Johnny Sexton, Heaslip gets the pass away well, and then it's spilt. Advantage New Zealand. McLaughlin picks it up, but New Zealand with the changes. Sonia, any news on Brian O'Driscoll?
Well, yeah, he's sad, as you can see, with his head in his hands on the bench. He's just been ripping the tape off his wrists. He's very disgruntled, but under the new pitch-side concussion assessment, the match-day doctor has assessed him and has viewed that he has, in fact, exhibiting signs of concussion, so he is not going to be allowed to come back on and finish this game. Very, very unhappy Brian O'Driscoll.
Owen Franks is on for New Zealand, and Liam Messam is on as well. Cruden puts his boot to it. And New Zealand are back in the Irish half.
Ireland really could have done with getting some points out of that visit. They didn't, but in fairness to them, they haven't stopped playing. They're still trying to force a score. That's what they need to keep doing. If they go into their shells and stop playing, they're going to bring this New Zealand side onto them. But territory is vital for Ireland.
Ben Franks comes on. We have a pair of brothers on the New Zealand side now. Ben and Owen Franks. We also have Ryan Crotty is on, out in the three quarters. Cronin. New Zealand have stolen it. Sam Whitelock comes away. He's got a brother on tour as well. Nonu, this is Ryan Crotty into the action.
That's his feet, he can use his feet, it's a wreck.
Here goes Brodie Retallick. This is Liam Messam. Aaron Smith comes away with it. Retallick, Aaron Cruden, that little stab through right-footed. Rod Carney sorts it out again. Kieran Reid with the tackle, ball out of play. The crowd think he was taken in the air.
You jumped and landed into him, okay? I'm going to carry on with that. I'm happy he jumped and landed in. Do you want to check, or are we happy to go? Huh? Hang on, time out. Check, okay, no check.
We're going to check.
Graham, my first instinct is that he caught it and landed into him. So unless that black has willfully taken in the air, we're going to carry on. Have a look for me, please. Thank you.
No, that's in the air.
Well, I think the crowd read that one right.
You had time not to make the tackle. Penalty here, back you go. Decision is made. Thank you.
Well, that's the reason he was very annoyed, because he was taken in the air. Nigel Owens reversing his initial thoughts on presentation of proper evidence. And the important thing for Ireland is not only will they get the territory from this and the break, they will get the throw.
Okay, well, it happened, yeah, there.
We are into the last quarter of the game.
Jonathan Sexton obviously in no hurry to take this, nor should he be.
He's just got to make touch. Don't be too ambitious. Good.
Touch safely found.
And whilst Ireland will be looking at the clock ticking down, alongside that, New Zealand have got to score 2 converted tries. There's a decent margin here, provided they stay disciplined and in control.
Kevin McLaughlin down to Sean Cronin on the bounce. Jamie Heaslip tries to cut inside Richie McCaw. The ball safely delivered though for Conor Murray. Julian Savea waits and Tommy Bowe bears down on him. Tommy Bowe is bounced off by the big New Zealand try scorer. Richie McCaw, Owen Franks.
Assist, release.
Aaron Cruden. Corey Jane, danger here. Ryan Crotty dragged back. Brodie Retallick tackled by Paul O'Connell. Lot of possession in New Zealand. Forget all those statistics about New Zealand not having much of the ball in this second half. They've had just about everything. Savea is away. Sexton makes a massive tackle. Aaron Smith to Aaron Cruden. Ma Nonu. Sean O'Brien came racing up, but Nonu still has it. Ben Smith. Mike Ross assists with the tackle. McCaw waits. Savea, who started it all. McCaw again. Hauled down. Retallick. Kieran Reid to Owen Franks. Here goes Franks again.
I think he's got that down.
Looks very much like the try will be awarded.
Try is good.
It is. Blood pouring from his eye, but Owen Franks is the try scorer.
Well, a reward for New Zealand. Doing what Ireland did in the first half, staying disciplined when in possession, going through the phases, being direct, getting quick ball.
Just,
yeah, try.
It's brother Bren. Ben Franks is over.
Well, that's what Ireland really didn't want to have New Zealand within a score and 15 minutes left on the clock. They've just stopped playing a little bit, Ireland. They've conceded territory. They haven't been able to get into the New Zealand half and spend enough time in the New Zealand half, and they're bringing New Zealand onto them a little bit. They've got the penalty, got the line out, but those Gary Owens are ceding possession and territory back to New Zealand.
Last 15. Massive.
Aaron Cruden not put off by the charging Irish players. 7 points for the All Blacks, 22-17. A converted try and the All Blacks will be in the lead. Julian Savea, that was the run that started the surge to the line.
Well, Phil, you highlighted the problem. You know, Ireland wanting to get down there for territory, doing that, but in doing so, they turn the ball over. Then they suddenly find they've not had enough possession. When New Zealand are able to retain possession, then they're getting the penalties, they're going forward, and that's what contributed to that. So whilst Ireland do want to play that, it's important for them also to play through phases.
Changes in the Irish ranks. Mike McCarthy is on. And in the front row, Declan Fitzpatrick is on. Fresh legs. Ireland lead by 5 points.
Also wonder this, Phil, it's been an immense physical effort. You know, Paul O'Connell to the fore, Heaslip, O'Brien, the usual suspects. How much have they got in the tank? If they've just got enough to sustain the intensity, it will take them home.
I believe psychologically, if they believe they can shut this out, they will have the energy. But what will sap their energy is if they feel that they're being chased down against probably the best chasing down team in world rugby.
Well, this is what they haven't done this half, and they did so successfully in the first half, which is a good sign.
It's an excellent driving maul from the line out, and still they rumble forward. Sam Whitelock
through the middle.
Has gone through the middle, says Nigel Owens. There it is, the ball is there for Conor Murray. It has become a ruck now. Cian Healy wakes over the ball. Play it quickly. Cian Healy takes on Dane Coles. Taken up by Kevin McLaughlin. Johnny Sexton for Tommy Bowe. Beautifully caught out of the air by the replacement Beauden Barrett. Ben Smith, here is Beauden Barrett. McCaw first there. Held up by Mike McCarthy, but delivered for Aaron Cruden and the Franks brothers. Ben Franks now with the white headband. Barrett wriggles away from the uprushing Mike McCarthy. Ben Franks.
Get up, keep up.
Sarrea. The switch to Barrett. Barrett is clean through into the 22.
Ruck is called, hands away, ruck is called.
There's an Irish player down. Cruden tries to get the pass away. Ireland looking for the turnover, but it comes their way via the penalty. Number 5, Sam Whitelock, is penalised.
Prevented the contest turnover.
Irish players scattered over the field now. Paul O'Connell is up and active, but Rob Kearney gets to his feet. Elsewhere, there are players down.
Well, not insignificant that Jamie Heaslip and Sean O'Brien, top tacklers in this game. They've really put their bodies on the line, and they're still on the pitch.
Cian Healy comes off, has the energy to spur his replacement on. Jack McGrath comes on for Ireland. On the far side, we still have a player down.
Time is out, Hooker's down.
Well, Eddie, whilst the Irish scramble defence did wonders there to keep the Kiwis out, that all came from what I consider a nonsensical kicking of the ball when they just had a successful drive, could have punched it in midfield, gone again. You know, that sort of cross kick, if it lands in and around the line, where if you catch it you're over the line, fine. All that would have happened, he'd have caught it and gone onto the 22 with players around him with no momentum and possibly held up. I don't, you know, when you've not had the ball for a significant period of time and just conceded, why kick it away?
Sean Cronin is up, and well, if he went off, we'd have uncontested scrums.
Time on. I'm looking at it, but I'm not seeing anything illegal, okay? Let him come down, okay? I know it's very marginal, but let him come down.
Mike McCarthy delivers to the backdrop of the sound of the fields of Athenry. It's been hacked clear. Advantage being played. Ireland have that advantage. Knock on by New Zealand. 10 minutes to go. Ireland 5 points in front.
See the difference there, putting the ball boot for a purpose.
Well, this might be the 10 minutes of these Irish players' life, but to be honest, this is the biggest 10 minutes of a rugby nation's life. The one team they've never beaten before. If ever there was a time to put your heart and soul and body on the line, it's this 10 minutes.
And if the crowd could take it home for them, they would. It's deafening in here.
Crowds.
What an atmosphere.
Conor Murray to feed the
Set.
scrimmage. We're in the New Zealand half.
Yes, 9. Stay in your own side, stay in your own side.
Liam Nesson tries to put a boot into the Irish scrum. Gordon Darcy to Conor Murray. One for Tommy Bowe to chase. Bowden Barrett steered it into touch. Whose throw is it? Ireland's throw in at the line out.
Catch and drive, catch and drive.
But it doesn't take a rocket science to work out what the tactics are here. Catch and drive all day long. Easier said than done sometimes when destiny is a tantalising 9 minutes away.
Played 27 in the history of the fixture. New Zealand have won 26. There was a draw back in 73. Ireland 8.5 minutes away from making history. Paul O'Connell with the catch. Sean O'Brien secures, takes a step back into the driving seat. Tommy Bowe joins them all.
They've sealed that well. Keep the man to the back, keep him coming back.
Ireland still going forward up to the 5-metre mark. Paul O'Connell has his hands on the ball. Luke Fitzgerald is in there too. Penalty to Ireland. New Zealand take it down. Can Johnny Sexton make the 5-point gap into an 8-point gap?
He's got to try. There's a world of a difference against New Zealand between 5 and 8 points. It's not the easiest kick in the world. It's not his favourite side. Has there ever been a bigger kick for Jonathan Sexton?
Well, he looks cool, doesn't he? And that's what he needs to be. He's from the wrong side, but he has got that 15 metres in.
Well, you talk about margins. There was doubt right up to kick-off time, right into the warm-up, whether Jonathan Sexton would actually be able to start this game. And to many, it's a surprise that he's been able to recover from that hamstring problem so quickly.
Slides past the post. 5 points. The gap still.
Well, time off the clock is probably an advantage, and a not insignificant one there.
New Zealand have possession. Brodie Retallick. Aaron Cruden, Nonu. Tommy Bowe came in fast, and it worked. Tommy Bowe and Jamie Heaslett try and hold up Julian Savea. It's there for Smith, and now Cruden. Retallick out in the three-quarter line.
Ball is called.
Jack McGrath
Ball
busy
available.
trying to keep the New Zealanders up. Kieran Reid. Good tackle on him by Luke Fitzgerald. Owen Franks. Retallick delivers for Smith. Nonu. Tommy Bowe has to cover 3 players and does well. Ball out, Irish throw, just inside the New Zealand half. Mike McCarthy is congratulated.
Hugely important that, because it gives Ireland the throw from where I confidently predict they will drive the ball again.
Johnny Sexton comes off.
Well, I don't think he has been at 100% today. He hasn't been as fleet of foot as he normally is. He's definitely carrying something. But Ireland now winding down the clock.
Ian Madigan is on at outside half.
Time on.
Jamie Heaslip won the line-out. Ian Madigan straight into the action. Tommy Bowe turns wing into rucker.
That's a rock release.
That's the halfway line. Declan Fitzpatrick.
Lost now.
Madigan. Heaslip. Richie McCaw comes in for it, but Conor Murray gets hands on it.
Ball is here, release.
Ireland still have it. 3.5 minutes to go. Sean O'Brien, what a game the number 7 has had. Jamie Heaslip. Fitzpatrick again.
Let's keep your feet, please. Keep your feet.
Jack McGrath sets up the ruck. It's a long clock to run down. The kick towards Beauden Barrett. Heaslip with a follow-up tackle. Support from Dave Carney. New Zealand have possession and they have numbers coming this way. Cruden goes round Gordon Darcy. Noble knocks it on! Advantage to Ireland. Kevin McLaughlin comes away with it. Mike McCarthy stretches out his long arms. Still advantage being played. Conor Murray puts his boot to it, and Ireland are safely down in New Zealand territory. As the referee said, advantage over.
Ma'a Nonu, of all people, one of the best pairs of hands, even he under pressure. You can hardly hear yourself thinking here.
Aaron Smith to Cruden. The captain, Richie McCaw, can't get outside the New Zealand 22. Cruden, the little dink, well read by Ian Madigan, who goes back. They can run down the clock from here as Paul McConnell goes in, shepherded by Jack McGrath. Good run by Declan Fitzpatrick. Paul O'Connell. Rob Kearney goes in. Conor Murray. One minute to go. Every inch gained is so important. Each inch goes with a second. Luke Fitzgerald.
Keep your feet picked up.
And on come the little charges by the replacements. Kevin McLaughlin this time. Penalty to New Zealand.
17, straight off your feet.
17. Jack McGrath penalised. 20 seconds to go. Aaron Smith takes it quickly. Ben Smith. One last defensive set to go through.
Eyes about boys now. Eyes about everything.
Cruden, Kieran Reid. to Cruden. Bowden Barrett hurled to the ground. Luke Fitzgerald. Sam Whitelock. We're into the red zone. 80 minutes is up on the clock. Ma'a Nonu. Ben Smith. Conor Murray still making his tackles. Owen Franks to brother Ben. Cruden. They're queuing up out here. Kieran Reid, Gordon Darcy, Ben Smith, Sean O'Brien and Rob Carney bring him down. Away comes Nonu. Crotty with the ball. Cruden, Franks. Aaron Smith to Cruden. Savea. New Zealand so close to keeping their 100%. You're alive, Ma'a Nonu. Gordon Darcy brings him down. Ireland slow up release. Cruden. Dane Coles gets the pass away. It's going to be the try for Ryan Crotty. Whistle has gone. Players are littered
me,
across the field.
Fine. Just check the pass there, please. Yeah.
Checking for the only thing that will prevent.
Just checking, yes.
What you have to say, if it is a try, was a phenomenal passage of play.
Well, we said that they were the best chase down team in the world. The one little penalty.
No, that's backwards. That's a try.
Dane Coles, the replacement hooker, to Ryan Crotty, the replacement.
The pass to 23 is fine, Graham. It's the one before when you're looking, I think.
Oh, the second to last, not the last pass.
Say again?
The second to last one, not the last.
Not the 1 to 23 looks okay to me. It doesn't look okay to you. Look at the one before.
The one before from the fly half. Okay,
right, that's the one I think. You can look at the both, but the second one looks okay.
It's a longer one. This one. No, that's not forward either. It's a hands. It's not where the ball is. His hands were going backwards.
Can we please?
Clearly, it's not forward.
We wait to see if any pass has gone forward. It appears not.
Okay, Nigel.
Yes.
Yep, you may award the try. The pass is fine. The passes were fine.
The pass is fine and may award the try.
You may, yeah.
The try has been awarded. The score is 22-all, and Aaron Cruden has the kick to win the game. The kick to make the New Zealand All Blacks the only team in the professional age from the top tier to go through a calendar year having won all their games, 14 out of 14.
Well, one of the reasons why so many people, myself included, love sport is that it is drama writ large, and this will be the most awful of endings for Ireland if it goes over.
We may have to wait. Did Ireland charge too soon? He might have another go at it. Oh.
Well, the law is this: they can't start moving until he starts moving.
Get on your mark.
Well, that's the second time that's happened today. Aaron Cruden takes a little half step back to settle his feet before he makes his run up.
And this time Ireland cannot charge.
Stay.
And this time they won't be allowed to.
And he's already had a sighter, so it's that bit easier for him. He's pushed the last one, so he's going to make a correction this time.
A second bite at the kick. Aaron Cruden to take the All Blacks into the history books and deny Ireland. second time he gets it right, and New Zealand have won what has to be one of the most pulsating games of rugby union we'll ever have the privilege of watching. It was a fantastic game of rugby, and New Zealand have won it by the slenderest of margins. They have beaten Ireland by 24 points to 22.
Well, New Zealand won that game. They were dominated for, you could say, the best part of 80 minutes. They played a hell of a lot of rugby in overtime to win that, and that's what they can do.
Well, awful for Ireland, heartbreaking for Brian O'Driscoll. What can you say? It was an effort which deserved. Well, no, actually, in sport, it doesn't count what you deserve. It was a tremendous effort from Ireland. They were unlucky. New Zealand, what can you say? Winners.
Final score here at the Aviva Stadium: Ireland 22, New Zealand 24.
Well, some of the last words we said before the game began was that even when they're on the ropes, they somehow, from somewhere, inexplicably sometimes, they find the killer, the sucker punch, and they found it again. And that particular chapter in Irish sporting history remains still to be written.
It was magnificent on every level, on every degree. It was an incredible performance by Ireland. And at the end of it all, with that last passage of play, which was off the chart, the best that the All Blacks played in the whole game, probably proved that that's why they are the team that they are. It was truly outstanding and gut-wrenching, and I've had butterflies for the first time in many a year.
What on earth do you say in circumstances like this, Clive?
There's very little you can say. You have to just take your hats off. That was a magnificent game of rugby, first of all. But to me, Ireland deserved to win the game. But they just lost a bit of composure at the end. You've got 30 seconds, you've got to keep the ball, and then just one bit of indiscipline and the game goes. As I said, this New Zealand team are always going to be scoring tries, and to get so close is just awful.
We talk about emotion in sport. I can just tell you that in this particular instance, we're looking at the Irish players. That is the loneliest place in the world you can be, at the back of 80 minutes of the best performance of their lives, and it's just drawn away from them in the final kick.
I think one thing we must say before, because we'll forget in the emotion of the whole thing, must just say to Nigel Owen, what a supreme piece of refereeing as well, because he helped to make that such an outstanding game of rugby.
Well, we've got heavily stressed for the whole of the autumn internationals as we've had to talk about referees and their interpretation. When you have a referee who each and every one of those players respects on the field, listens to what he's saying, adheres to what he says, and he has a great rapport with the players, but he actually delivered for them, because we never had to comment on whether he was having an influence. He was just making the game flow.
Well, I was just imagining what kind of a night it was going to be in Dublin about 3 or 4 minutes ago, and now it's going to be a very different kind of night, because it was just tantalisingly within reach.
You get these, I mean, that's why we love sport. You get these one moments in life, you're either going to be happy or you're going to live to regret it, and that was that Ireland team's chance. That'll take a lot of recovering for the Ireland team, because they should have won the game. And as I said, you've just got to close the game out, and it needs real thinking correctly. And they had it, and there's that one penalty, the Sexton penalty, just lost those vital moments that last couple of minutes.
Well, we were saying throughout the game that a phenomenal atmosphere inside the ground, but it's obviously very, very quiet now. Let's go down to Sonia.
Well, Sean, what a dramatic end to that test match. Can you just give me an idea of what the emotions are at the moment?
Yeah, obviously we're not happy, losing a game like that and starting so well and getting such a lead and not finishing them off. But we'll have to have a good hard look at ourselves and see where we can improve, especially in the second half. We probably let them play way too much, and it's the thing we spoke about at half time, to go out and keep playing and go after them again, and maybe we didn't do that.
They never know when they're beaten, these All Blacks, do they?
Yeah, I suppose they have that belief, and that's where we have to get to, have the belief to just keep going, and they go right to the last minute, and we knew they would, and we just need to trust ourselves there in the last couple of minutes and keep working hard.
The question at half-time was going to be, could you possibly play like that for 80 minutes? Did you believe you could all the way to the finish line?
Yeah, I do, as I said, I think there was a little bit of trust needed there in the last couple of minutes, and it's just very disappointing. We'll have to assess it next time we get into camp together and see where we go from there.
Thank you.
Well, Well, I suppose when the history of this match is written, that kick will be in many ways, and it's very unfair on Johnny Sexton to allude to it, but it is, because that would have given Ireland a two-score lead with 6 minutes to go, and on such fine margins are the history books written.
And probably the width of a ball that went wide, and we were here. It's great to see you showing such emotion, Clive, on behalf of Ireland. I like that.
He did coach London Irish.
But it was, to see it, to know it, that was the chance to do it, and because we will say afterwards that okay, that if that went over, Ireland win the game. But there was 2 or 3 other elements that happened after that Ireland could have held on to the ball a little bit more and kind of closed out the game, which didn't happen.
I just think it was important for World Rugby because it was, this is a very good New Zealand team, but it's not the best New Zealand team all the time, and they're certainly beatable, and yes, they've won every game this year, but I just feel Ireland just showed the world you can beat this team. So I think even with Ireland losing today, this is great for World Rugby because everyone knows this team can be beaten. It's good for the World Cup in a couple of years' time. And I think it will show this is great for Irish rugby because this is a serious Irish team here. And I think they just ran out a little bit of steam that second half. If they could have just been a little bit more fitter, I think they could have held out and got the win, but that's sport.
I got thrust a piece of paper during half-time, which I thought I wouldn't mention for tempting fate, that in the 2001 game at Lansdowne Road, Ireland led New Zealand 21-7 and then lost 40-29. You were in that game.
Yes.
Yeah, and I was just thinking, let's not mention that because let's not tempt fate, but it's come to pass again.
It was, and I have to tell you, the difference from then to now was we got blown away with 15 minutes to go. 2 absolutely incredible, passages of play that led to tries that kind of pushed us away. Today was different. Today it almost took 2 bites of the cherry for the conversion for Ireland to lose, and it just shows you the level of progression. It shows you that even having had such a poor performance last week, to be able to have a performance of magnificence and still be upset at the end of it, as Sean O'Brien has, that shows you where the team has gone.
Well, it has been a privilege to be here today. I mean, people often say that rather tritely, but what an unbelievable match we've seen, and for everybody here today, it's a game that they will never forget. Thank you, guys. And it's a shame it kind of ends from a parochial sense, if you like, on a down note. But as we look at these pictures of the All Blacks, they are a phenomenal team. Only 2 teams in the history of International Rugby Union have ever come back from 19 points down to win a match. So they join a pretty illustrious band. And all year it's been proven, and it's been proven yet again here in Dublin today. There is nothing like the black stuff. Bye-bye.